Welcome back, everybody. This is another episode of What the X. This is What the X, episode 77. So, always getting closer to the 100 mark. Appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. A lot of crazy stuff going on. This one is shout out to my boy Schmitty, as everybody knows him from the Brennan Schmitty podcast. It's been a little bit of a hiatus. Who knows what's going on? Both of us been real busy. Life things happen. Thanks to everyone. Please like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into the story that he brought to my attention. There's been some things that have resurfaced on. Her name is Amy Eskridge. Rest in peace to Amy Eskridge. She actually passed away back in 2022, guys, unfortunately. And she had some pretty crazy connections with uh, gravity manipulation theories and other things with propulsion for like jet engines that could have a lot of implications with future technology, almost out of a sci-fi movie. Schmitty's always good at giving me some crazy conspiracy theory type stuff, but it has some real meat to it. I thought we would give it a try, and what better way than through a What the X? And this is episode 77, so we're going to go with some crazy stuff here. And then just to give you a little background, I asked co-pilot here, who is Amy Eskridge and why is she trending again now, years after her death? Amy Eskridge is trending, like I said, because of newly resurfaced text, videos, and federal investigations have reviewed public suspicion about her 2022 death, which was officially ruled a suicide, but which she herself warned friends not to believe. Who Amy Eskridge was. Amy Eskridge was a 34-year-old plasma physicist and UFO/advanced propulsion researcher based in Huntsville, Alabama. She co-founded the Institute for Exotic Science and worked on anti-gravity and propulsion technology, often presenting her research publicly. She had a background in chemistry, biology, engineering, and materials science, and collaborated with her father, a retired NASA engineer. Why she died and why people question it. Eskridge died on June 11th, 2022, from what authorities ruled a self inflicted gunshot wound, but almost immediately, friends and online communities questioned the ruling. The skepticism came from text she sent a month before her death, stating, "If you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not." She repeated similar warnings about overdose or harming others. Claims she made to a former British intelligence officer that she was being targeted with a directed energy weapon, stalked and harassed. She sent photos of her hands appearing burned or discolored. Guys, we will get to that in a moment. Her belief that her propulsion research threatened powerful interests, which she said made her a target. Who those powerful interests are, we will discuss. Her father, however, has consistently rejected foul play theories, saying scientists die also, and that he does not believe her death was suspicious. Why she's trending again now, up in 2026. Amy Eskridge's name has resurfaced because newly uncovered text and videos were published in April 2026 showing her describing harassment and energy weapon attacks shortly before her death. Those clips we're going to get into, guys, very shortly. The FBI and U.S. Congress are now investigating a pattern of at least 10 to 11 deaths or disappearances. A lot of people in the same kind of circle of or field that she was working in, which is kind of crazy, of scientists involved in nuclear, aerospace, UFO, or advanced propulsion research. Eskridge is now listed among them. The timing coincides with the recent death of UFO researcher David Wilcock, also ruled a suicide, which triggered comparisons because he and Eskridge died from self inflicted gunshot wounds. Lawmakers have publicly warned of a possible national security threat, prompting renewed media coverage and online speculation. The bigger picture. Her case is now part of a broader federal review into whether these scientists' deaths are isolated tragedies, signs of foreign interference, or simply coincidences amplified by online conspiracy culture. Authorities have not confirmed any coordinated cause, but the resurfaced evidence has reignited public debate. So that's just a little introduction, guys, on the whole story here. And we're just going to get right into. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up the tweets here because these are pretty crazy. The first one that I'm gonna go into, guys, is about the tailing and about being followed. It's a really crazy story. Colin Rugg, a media personality who's on X and posts quite often, he had this to say. Colin Rugg says, a new researcher working on anti-gravity technology whose death was ruled a suicide sent a text just 1 month before her death saying she would never kill herself, according to the Daily Mail. Amy Eskridge was found with a gunshot to the head in Huntsville, Alabama. Eskridge told a friend that she had been the target of multiple physical and psychological attacks, including being a victim of an energy weapon before her death. If you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I overdosed, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I killed anyone else, I most definitely did not. She reportedly said in a text in May 2022, and then the co-pilot kind of backing up what Colin Rugg's saying here. In an interview before she died, Eskridge said she was getting scared and said she needed to disclose soon. And the video that Colin Rugg shared, I'm going to play right here for you guys. So give me 1 second here because, yeah, it's really pretty unsettling to say the least. And then this is it right
I
here,
found out
guys.
that I was being physically surveilled by the following method. We, my ex and I realized, my ex-boyfriend and I realized that people had been breaking into our apartment while we were gone together in the same vehicle. And so, like,
Jeez.
I'm in the apartment, I'm about to go to work, and I'm like, why don't you take out the trash and scope out the parking lot and make sure it's okay before I go to work? So he goes out there and he's like, there's this weird fucking Lexus. It's like a silver Lexus. This is a shitty apartment. Like, why is there really nice Lexus in the parking lot? And it has tinted windows that are not street legal. Like,
Ooh, that's
just
scary.
totally dark, totally black tinted windows that are not possibly street legal. And so he comes back in and we're standing in our bedroom window looking at the Lexus and talking about it. And I say out loud, maybe we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate, because the Lexus is across the parking lot from us, but it's backed in, so you can't see the license plate. Within 2 minutes of me saying, hey, we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate, we were still standing there at the window looking at it, talking about it. And an Eastern European looking motherfucker with a black beanie, dressed all in black, in his 50s or 60s,
Eastern
walked out of
European.
the
Interesting.
apartment directly across from ours holding a license plate. And he opened the trunk of the Lexus and he took out some tools and he changed the license plate right in front of our fucking faces. And then he walked back to his apartment and he put the old license plate on the front patio and went inside, left it
What is that
outside.
about?
And it was literally like, come get the license plate. I have more. I have more where this came from. Come get the license plate. And then after that, the Lexus started tailing me. And every time I saw the Lexus, it had a different license plate. It would be like Alabama plates, a different state plate. It would be random dealer plates, none of which were local, just like cardboard temporary dealer plates, none of which were any local dealers. Every time I saw it, it was different plates. It would
What
follow
is
me to the
that
gas
about?
station to go get beer. I would go get beer at the gas station, and that Lexus follows me. And even my ex called an Uber once. He called an Uber. The Lexus pulled out from the spot across the parking lot from our apartment, drove over to our apartment, and said, hey, I'm your Uber here to pick you up.
Oh man, that's
The license
creepy.
matched in the Uber app, but they didn't have an Uber sticker or a Lyft sticker. You can't drive Uber if you don't have an Uber sticker. He pulled out of his spot. He pulled out of his spot across from our apartment where he lived and drove over
That's so
there to pick him up
crazy.
and said, hey, I'm your Uber here to pick you up. They changed the license plate right in front of our face. Like 60 seconds after I said, hey, we should go take a picture of that license plate. and they leave it on the patio, like, take it. We have more. Just take it. Like, I'm scared.
Yeah, that's
I'm
definitely some
tired.
intimidation
I'm
tactics
real
for
tired.
sure.
I need to disclose soon, man. I need to publish soon because it's like escalating. It's getting more and more aggressive. Like over the past, this has been going on for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And over the past 12 months, it's been like escalating, like more aggressive, more invasive, digging through my panage, like digging through my underwear drawer and sexual threats over the past like 3 to 6 months. And now I'm like, fuck, I have to publish. Fuck, I have to publish because like it's only going to get worse until I publish. There's no way out of this. There's no way out of this fucked up situation until I publish.
That is so insane to me. That is a very scary reality to live in, to where you're being tailed constantly, and it's like they're not even trying to hide their presence. It's such an intimidation tactic. Who is it too? Is it CIA? Because she said it was an Eastern European gentleman in his 50s or 60s. Could this be like a Russian actor? But then again, what about the Uber app, where she was saying that the Uber app also showed the same license plate? So it's like they have real time programming or hacking or some kind of capabilities or access to the inner workings of Uber to be able to change things like that and be able to present themselves as legitimate Uber drivers through the Lexus story is very creepy, and I feel like it's something that definitely our government's powerful enough to execute, just to drive someone to go mad, go mental, have a breakdown. Her need to disclose what kind of stories did she, or findings, I should say, did she have on anti-gravity? What's going on with the propulsion systems? There's a lot to go into. There's one more tweet that I wanted to bring up here that I think is also very relevant to everything that we're talking about. And let me pull this up right here. This is going to be the one that's in regards to the hand being burned. Right Angle News Network. Newly uncovered video shows anti gravity propulsion researcher Amy Eskridge in a state of panic, claiming her hands were being targeted by a direct energy weapon just 1 month before she was found dead from a gunshot wound to the head. And then that's going to be this. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just pulling the video up here. Do videos. It's right. Here. This is. Watch this, guys. This is playing right about. Give it 1 second. Right about
my
now.
hands have been burned to hell and back as I've been typing. Because you can beam me through there and through there, and you can get a 3D image of what I'm typing. Because this computer doesn't have a Wi-Fi card, you can't hack it, but you can maybe get a 3D image of me typing. So like we just did that, and did that as an act of pure desperation. And guess what? I feel better immediately. Like, my hands still burn because there's damage. But it's like my body relaxed when we barricaded the shit.
What a crazy, what an insane story. And then to be constantly targeted, your hands are burning, as she was explaining, through whatever these weapons are that they're using. I guess electromagnetic or wave weapons that they can pierce and penetrate through any surfaces because it's like x-rays. So I guess it's doing like radiation burns to her hands, and it's making it to where like a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Imagine if we have the capabilities or the weapons and we don't know this, but weapons that can target our body parts and make us move our hands to do certain things, and then making it look all the easier to cover something up like that if there was any government involvement in her apparent suicide. And if you guys noticed in that clip, there's also a little Tito's airplane shot airplane bottle, a shooter, you know? So it's like the constant surveillance, the tactics that they were using to mentally break her down could also have played a part in her suicide, because I mean, even without the weapons that are like allegedly, you know, making those burns on her hands did look really red. It is a little concerning. I mean, I guess AI can do so much now, so it's like you can never know what's real and what's not, especially when there's such a lack of trust with the government. But think about how much money there is to be made if she really did have any breakthroughs with propulsion systems. So it's hard for me to think that it would be the CIA or any offshoot of the US government that would be responsible for this. Not that it's not possible, because they could even have their hands tied with Russian actors too, or even any other Eastern European actors. Who knows what other foreign foreign agents, like some CIA offshoots or something, might be entangled with or working with in any nefarious plans. I'd always like to think if you're in government, you'd be wanting to do what's best for the country, but greed and self-interest definitely do corrupt even the best of public servants. And if you're in a secrecy thing that you're not voted into as well, and then even her father's like connected to NASA, so I don't know what he thinks about it. He was kind of saying it was just scientists die too, which is true. And maybe she did just have depression or just had other mental issues going on. But at the end of the day, it's a tragedy that she passed away back in 2022 from the apparent suicide. It'd be even crazier if this was done by whether it be a Russian or a foreign asset, or if it was a CIA or a U.S. government, which would be, I guess, even worse. And you can never count out corporate entities too. Like on the private sector, maybe someone was hired by a corporate board member or something to take this lady out. You never know. And she was in Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama, guys, if you don't know, is a central hub for aerospace research and like all this propulsion technology that she's trying to figure out, or these theories that she's trying to understand. It's insane. This is like on Elon Musk level of like, if you can figure out the anti-gravity propulsion and you can get spacecraft to move beyond light speed and all these other crazy things that they're talking about and theorizing on. It's just theories now, but if you can get that to actually work, you would change the entire world, essentially. And then it's like, we're talking about Russians, we're talking about the US government itself. What we're not talking about are aliens. We're not talking about the UFOs, because it's another thing too, aerospace, right? We're talking about UFOs too and the interest there. And what's crazy with all of this is like, what if she was onto a breakthrough that would lead to human civilization going out to the stars, and say that there are visitors here already and that there are aliens amongst us or observing us, and they're saying, hey, humans aren't ready for this yet. Maybe they even have their own agents. Maybe there's alien agents out there that are responsible for all the deaths that are happening, because the US government, maybe they're tailing her and they're tailing other scientists to try to understand how they're killing themselves or how they're dying or disappearing under mysterious circumstances. That's an even scarier thought to me. Think about this, guys. It's not so much that the CIA and the U.S. government are evil, or that there's Russian actors out there that are on U.S. soil, maybe cooperating with the CIA doing that. Those are two theories there of like who could have been responsible for this, right? But the third theory is this: what if the U.S. government and even its allies and enemies abroad are equally concerned about these disappearances? What the FBI is researching and investigating it, they're saying. I would think that if they're responsible for it, they'd continue to try to cover the story up. But also, they would want to cover the story up of any unknowns doing this too. Maybe it's better to look like the bad guy than have to admit that you have no evidence or proof of the bad guy. Because if aliens are doing this and the FBI is out of their element, and they're not able to like identify or find the culprit, then that's even more terrifying. Like the outside extraterrestrial forces are at play, and they said Amy knows too much, we got to take her out, and we have to take out any of these other scientists that we see coming to the conclusion of how to do space travel and potentially be a threat in the future. So it's a preemptive strike, you could say, by taking out these aerospace engineers and leaders and people that are trying to break this field, you can say, and travel the stars. And maybe Elon Musk has not gotten close enough, so the aliens haven't had to take him out yet. Maybe he is an alien. There's so much that is just theories, right? But if it's the U.S. government, that may be the safest option. Yeah, it's still evil. It's still a tragedy, but maybe that's a little more comfort for us, knowing that at least we know who the big bad guy is. It's it's government interest and it's deep state. Even the Russians would be a better, or well, that would still be scary, don't get me wrong, but they're at least seem more beatable than extraterrestrials that we don't even know exist yet and are killing scientists. If that, my third theory were to hold up and be true. So if extraterrestrials are behind the passings of Amy and these other scientists that have gone disappearing or been found dead, that would be insane. So there's quite a few questions to still be answered, but I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. And again, rest in peace to Amy Eskridge. I hope that before her passing, she was able to find some truth into what she was fighting for, and maybe she did break the code. Maybe she did figure out how anti-gravity works and how these other things that are just theories can actually be put into practice. And because of that, because of her findings that we still don't have, maybe that's why they had to take her out. And I'm thinking it could have been, again, either the Russians or other foreign agents. Not as likely to me. Could have been U.S. deep state, CIA. A little more likely, but still, I don't see how they could gain so much from silencing all these brilliant voices, you could say. My most likely in my head, although there's no evidence or anything to support it, but would make the most sense for their own interest would be extraterrestrials that we can't see and can't seem to stop. Maybe Elon can see him, and maybe some other, if Elon's not an alien. Again, this is all just theories, but it's a lot to wonder. And I just pray every day for a brighter future and for world peace. And if there are aliens out there, I hope that they can see that humanity is worthy of traveling the stars. So whatever it is, it's a crazy story, and it's something that to look into more. And I hope that scientists still look into the field of anti-gravity, even though it is more on that fringe space. But I think it's always good to push the boundaries and see where we can go. That's how we discover new things, right? So rest in peace again, Amy. Thanks, everyone, for watching. This has been another episode of What the X? If you like that clip, feel free to click on this clip or even this clip. And then, hey, don't forget about that clip over here. Thanks, guys.